Friday, and happy Friday to each and every single one of you out there hanging out where sports meets that thing called life. So happy to be here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We are live. So happy to be here. Happy to be here on time. As you know, yesterday there was a wonderful glitch of the beautiful software of Apple, so we weren't able to get to you right away, and now we are. So I'm so happy, and it means the world to me to be here with you this morning. I hope you're all doing so very well, and thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, coming to you with a cup of Cafe Kubal single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can get your cup from Cafe Kubal by going to 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners. You can go and see them there at their drive-thru location in North Syracuse and out in Manlius on 343 Fayette Street in the giant behemoth of a brown straight building. You cannot miss it. I call it the Welcome Center of Manlius because when all the roads converge into Manlius, it is right there, right in front of you with a new expanded parking lot. So make sure you go out to Cafe Kubal today. And if you're out of town, I know we have a lot of people that listen around the country, you can go to cafekubal.com. That's cafe, Kubal.com, and you can order from them today. Keep it easy, keep it simple, and order from Cafe Kubal online this morning. So we definitely appreciate you doing that, and thank you for everything that you have done. You can also get gift cards and a coffee subscription and all of that good stuff. So make sure you order from Cafe Kubal today. And I'm going to show you here too, while we're on the screen, how easy it is to do it. So we're going to bring that up on the screen right now. For those of you on Facebook and on YouTube, you could see it right here. We'll bring it right here up on the screen. How easy it is to offer, how easy it is to order from Cafe Kubal. So see, you just go right here to Cafe Kubal, and you can feel free to order from them. And you can look here as we go down the line here. You could go to cafekubal.com and you can order and see like their different types of coffee. It's cafekubal.com, so make sure you order from them today and let them know the Wake Up Call sent you their way. So with that being said, we got a great group of wonderful things going on today's broadcast. I've been waiting impatiently for this Friday because I'm very excited for this show. I'm very much looking forward to the amazing things we're going to be able to do. We have a trio of guests and we have a trio of signature segments. So those of you that know Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, you know the trio. And you know that we have the opportunity to bring you this trio every single Friday. We have the annoying moment of the week to start off the show, followed by, that is brought to you by Carvel DeWitt. Then outside of that, we have Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. That's Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. That's what Lead stands for. And that's presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. And within that segment, we have the opportunity to change up the topic every single week. And today's topic is going to be the topic of being a true leader. Being a true leader, what that means, and with lead capitalized, of course, but being a true leader, what does that mean? How do I define that? How do you define that? Because you can weigh in as well by chatting with us. Now, you can chat with us on any one of our outlets. You can go to facebook.com/wakeupcalldt in the feed there. You can go to the feed on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, or you can go to our mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt feed. Any one of those feeds works out, and you can feel free to follow us there. It is free to follow. You'll be notified when the shows go live, and you can chat with us in the chat room. So if you're not with us on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, you can also download the MixLR app and look for Wake Up Call DT, all one word. If you don't have that, it is free and it is easy and it will connect you to the show all the time. So make sure you do that. And of course, subscribe to us on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and like our page on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. So plenty of ways to get involved, and we suggest you do that today so that you can connect with us at all times. So like I said, we have the annoying moment of the week. We have Lead, and then at 10 a.m. Eastern time, we'll be announcing our top dog of the week. We do that in the second hour of every single Friday broadcast, and we get to do that proudly presented exclusively by the wonderful people at Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. They take care of our furry-loving friends during the day, right? If you're out and about and you need some help during the day, you need a little daycare, just like bringing your kid over. I mean, these dogs are our kids. I know Lily's my little daughter baby, and I don't just say that to say that. She truly embodies that for me, so she is my daughter. And, you can bring them out there for the day to Canine Camp Dog Daycare. You can also bring them out there for longer term, right? If you're heading out of town, if you're renovating the house, if you got a big party going on, whatever it may be, and you want to have the dog be somewhere safe and know that they're looked after well for a few days, you can bring them over to Canine Campground. Now, Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding are both in East Syracuse. They're both right off of Bridge Street, and they're around the corner from each other. The daycare is on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. The campground is on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, so make sure you head over there to each of them so that you can enjoy some peace of mind knowing that your furry-loving friend is being taken care of in a good way by the wonderful people at Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Campground Dog Boarding, including Lorraine Perry, as well as Chad David, and, of course, Heather Kitty Wilson. So big shout-out to all of you, and thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for taking care of Miss Lily. So then at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, we're going to do it a little bit earlier today because we have plenty going on with the show. So we're going to do it a little bit earlier because we have an expanded Pacer Pride today. We have a great segment coming up for you. We're going to spend ample time with the Marywood softball team, and I'm ecstatic about this. So Marywood softball coming front and center to you today on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Marywood softball is coming off of a historic season where they not only got their first ever ECAC postseason win, but they were crowned ECAC champions in the season where they got their first postseason win in the ECAC. They also became ECAC champions. So we'll talk about that and so much more, why they chose Marywood, hindsight 2020, looking back on it, all of their stories, where they're from, and so much more. And, of course, we'll play rapid fire with the ladies. Very excited to have on the show a trio of signature segments leading into a trio of Marywood softball players who are all here with us and all returning to the team. Ashdon Clark, Emily Rose, and Brooke McKay. Looking forward to talking with them, or looking forward to sharing with them, or sharing with you our conversation with them. There we go, got it right that time. And looking forward to sharing that conversation with you, as well as seeing them in the future at Marywood, because they have so much success to build upon and more to come. So very, very much looking forward to that, and always appreciate Marywood University's Pacer Pride that we get to do in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership, bringing you the fantastic stories from Marywood University every single week to round out the show, typically right here around 10:30 a.m. on Fridays. But today we're doing it a little bit earlier and making sure that Brooke McKay, Ashdon Clark, and Emily Rose have plenty of time to talk with us about their journey, their individual stories, and to have some fun with us. So very excited for that. I've been looking forward to it all week, and I can't wait to do this. I'm extremely impatient. So very, very much looking forward to this, and that'll be coming up at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. So shout out to Brooke, Ashdon, and Emily, and a big thanks to head coach John Butash for setting this up. We'll have that coming up for you at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. So with that being said, it is time to jump into our first portion of the show, which every single Friday is the annoying moment of the week. And the annoying moment of the week is proudly coming to you from the fantastic team led by Jay Cartini at Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like, and it is the longest standing Carvel franchise in America. Here we go.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
You have to be that crazy. I guess so.
The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like, and it is here with us every single Friday to start off the broadcast. My annoying moment of the week has to do with yesterday's show, and not with the show itself, and have nothing to do with the actual show, outside of the fact that these beautiful bean footages, right? These phones here. Now, I love my case, but these phone, whoever designed this, it's awesome. But these phones, right? These iPhones, we have some things that we do through the phone and some things that we have to do digitally here for the show, and they have just been an absolute problem. And I have been more than upset with what happened yesterday. 20 minutes behind in getting this show started because of what this phone was not. I shouldn't say, I'm not going to say what this phone was doing. It's what the phone was not doing. And so very frustrated and very upset about the fact that this phone was ridiculous. And it works today, and I'm happy that it works today. And we got it to work yesterday, and I just prayed to God that we could get it out there so that we could do what we needed to do. And I am so grateful and so thankful that it worked. And I'm so thankful that we were able to get it all set and ready to go. And I'm happy it was only 20 minutes. But it is part of my annoying moment of the week, because essentially what happens is, you know, when you have an iPhone, it'll tell you, hey, you ran out of storage. But obviously you didn't, because you still have it and you could keep adding stuff to your phone. So it says you ran out, but did you really run out? Because you can continue to add to your phone. And then it's like, oh, buy more storage. Oh, buy more storage. You could buy more storage. You could buy this. No, these phones cost $1,000, okay? Which is utterly disgusting. I feel like they used to be like $200-$300, $400, $1,000. And I feel like every time they come out, they keep going up. The batteries are okay. They're not fantastic, but they're okay. So, I mean, it's just, I mean, there's times where they're awful. But I'm just frustrated. I'm frustrated with this, you know. And Apple does these things, right? They force you to have certain things on your calendar. They force certain things can't be taken off. This can't be moved. This can't be this. But it's supposed to be your phone, right? You're supposed to be able to do what you want to do with your phone. You're supposed to be able to have control over your phone. What I also found interesting about Apple and the iPhone is that I got sent a message during the pandemic that said, the pandemic is ending, here's what you need to know. And it was from Apple. And I thought to myself, if there's no such thing as conspiracies, then how does Apple know what's going on with the pandemic? And nobody's been able to control this thing for 2 years, but you know exactly when it's ending or around the time that it's ending? How can you know the ending of something that we didn't know the beginning of, allegedly? So it's just, I mean, these phones, we utilize them, right? We have them and we put them out there and we utilize them for what we need to do and what we need to get across and whatever. And yeah, I use my phone a lot for business. I use it for business. And if I didn't use it for business, I would still use it a lot because I call the people I love and I send out messages to the people that I love and I try to keep in touch with everybody to the best of my ability. And, you know, and so I appreciate having a phone and I appreciate all the benefits that come from having a phone. But it's frustrating how crippling it becomes when the phone doesn't work, right? And you can't get something to go through and you're trying to send something to somebody or something like that. You know, me posting, I was trying to post a couple videos and the phone was having problems posting videos. And that was frustrating too, that my phone was just not posting videos and it wasn't letting me post videos, which I don't understand that at all. So, you know, to me, it's, listen, I know that there's a lot of good, and I know that, you know, the phone brings a lot to the table, but yesterday when it wasn't working and you got to force, thank goodness that people started posting stuff on, and that I have a laptop where I could go on there and read, like, what should I do? How should I fix this? What do I need to do? How do I restart my phone? How do I force restart my phone? So thank you to the great people out there that were willing to share the information, and thank you to Apple for sharing the information. Because I remember one time I went to get my phone fixed, and I went to Verizon, and the Verizon sent me to Apple, and then Apple told me to go back to Verizon, and then the guy told me it couldn't be fixed, and I went online and watched a YouTube video of a kid doing it for 20 minutes, and I fixed my phone by myself. So, you know, I mean, and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that kid shot that video, because the person that was getting paid to take care of my phone, who you know, works for the company that got paid for me to buy my phone, didn't know what to do. I also remember one time I went in to get my phone fixed and they said, hey, we may have to delete all your contacts in order to fix it. We hope we don't have to, but we can't move your pictures, we can't move your videos, we can't move your recordings. We may only be able to move your contacts, and in the worst case scenario, we may not be able to do that. They came back to me, somehow moved my pictures, my videos, and my audio files, and deleted every single one of my 300 plus contacts at the time, handed me my phone, and I said, oh, so you were able to fix it? And he's like, no. I was like, so my contacts are on here? He was like, no, we deleted them all. Deleted every single one of my contacts, I believe. And I had to try and go through my email and go through time, and now I have over 3,000 numbers in my phone. So multiply what I lost times 10, literally, and just deleted it off my phone. 300 plus contacts, just deleted. Okay? Business, personal, just deleted that stuff. So those are the annoying moments of the week because, we rely on these things to stay connected to people. And when they're not working, then obviously that's a problem. Now, granted, mine didn't work for a temporary time, and God bless, and I thank God for this. We were able to have all of our guests, and Papa Joe started a little bit late. Everybody else started, around on time. We were able to do everything that we needed to do seamlessly. When you go back and watch it, I stayed on with Dave. We went over 2 hours. We made sure we gave you that 20 minutes back. We made right on our end of it and did everything we could for the listener and the viewer. But it was just frustrating to be put in a situation like that where my phone was kind of working, not working, kind of working, not working, kind of working, kind of not working. So it's an annoying moment of the week. Another annoying moment of the week is when people don't listen, right? When people don't hear you. When you're having a conversation with somebody and you're trying to solve a puzzle and the other person isn't listening. That gets so frustrating. When someone, I have a third scoop for the annoying moment, just came to me. But when somebody's not listening to you, and then you say, well, this is why I'm upset, and you're trying to work through it, and then they say to you, well, this is what I think about this. And I'm like, I'm not even talking about that. We're not even discussing that. You got to stay with it, right? You got to have two people on the same page working together. If they're not on the same page, that are trying to get to the same page. But when you have somebody reading a different book or a totally different chapter, or they're reading the book from the front to the back and you're reading it from the back to the front, it causes an issue. So that's an annoying moment of the week. My third annoying moment of the week is that I used to have a producer that was cheap as you know what. And I did something for them to make their life easier. Actually, I did a lot of things. At a time where I didn't really have... I had the money, but I had the money to spend, thank God. But it put me out at a time where I was spending money on normal stuff and on big things. And I lent them $400, right? And I say this because I wonder if you have a friend like this. I lent him $400. We're not friends anymore. Not just because of this, because of a lot of things. But you lend somebody $400, right? And not only that, but they came in to see me. They didn't rent a car. So I had to go pick them up. I had to drive them everywhere. I had to go pick them up, drive them everywhere. Then when they were staying, they stayed in a hotel, but they didn't have a hotel room. But I knew people that were staying at the hotel. So I had to find them a room. Then I had to find him a room for the first day. I had to find him a room for the second day. So I had to get him a cot, get him this, get him that. Had to do all these things to make sure that he was set so that he didn't have to spend any money. Now, listen, I understand that times get tight on people, but this is why it's the annoying moment of the week. He will spend hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars on merchandise. He will go out there and he will buy every Star Wars thing under the Tuscan sun. He will go and buy everything Star Wars related that you can't even believe. I can't believe it. So he will go buy all of that stuff, right? But he won't pay you back when he owes you money. And it not only upset me, but it upset people around me, and it upset my best friend in a big way. Because, we go online, and now this has been years. So I tried to get the 400, and I got it in spurts. And eventually I got 200 of it. And then he said to me, well, I've been your producer for years, and I've given you a bunch of free stuff, pro bono, helping you out. And when you add it all up, it kind of covers the cost. Actually, basically, I've done way more than what I owe you, so we should be even now, right? Because me being a good friend doing all this production for you for free and never asking for money, now that I owe you money, I'll just give you a bill for all the production I did, and I'll say that that's why we're even now. And I can't stand when people do that. I lent somebody $10 one time. $10. That was it. Months later, I said, can I get my money? I think it was like a month later. I said, can I get my $10 back? I was in high school. I wasn't making millions of dollars. And I said, can I get my $10 back? And he was like, well, I drive sometimes, you drive sometimes. When you put it all together in the cost of gas, you actually owe me money, so let's just call it even. I was like, no, let's call it that you owe me $10. Because you don't get to do that. You don't get money from somebody and then do a nice deed for somebody and then go, oh, well, you know what? That good deed costs money, so we'll just call it even. Now, if I owed my mom $100 and I brought her to lunch at a really nice restaurant, and I'm like, well, Ma, I only owe you 44 because we spent 56. No, that's not how it works. If you owe somebody money, then you owe somebody money. Now, the $400 story of this person that I was dealing with, and a lot of us may have friends like this, but I know that I do. And I've stayed mum about it publicly because, I don't know. I mean, I'm never going to say the name of the person. My best friend knows who it is. People that know me know who it is, but I'm not going to blow up the person's spot. But here's the thing. They go to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in California. They spend almost $2,000. They post the picture of everything they bought when they owed me $200. And this was like a decade after owing me $200. So, or not a decade. This is about 7 years after owing me $200, 6 or 7 years. So you look at this and you say to yourself, this person owed me $400. I had to ask for half of it. Then they said, well, the $200, let's just call it a wash because I did all this stuff for you for free. Kept spending money, throwing it in your face, and then spent over $200 on a lightsaber when they owe me $200. I said, well, okay, well, then let me keep the lightsaber then. Didn't get to do that. So you realize in life that people have money for what they want to spend it on, and that's not the only situation that I've been in where you realize somebody doesn't have $30 for lunch, but they have $150 to buy clothes. And I dealt with that with somebody I never dated, but like I had a friendship with, and she would complain about, she would offer to buy you breakfast. It would cost her $1.67, God forbid. And she would complain about paying for that for you. She would offer to buy you breakfast. You would take her credit card, and then she would complain that you took her credit card because it was actually a game. It was a test. When she offered to buy you breakfast and handed you her card, you were supposed to say, no, keep your card. I'll get it for us. That was the whole point. She didn't want to buy you breakfast. She wanted to offer. And we know, some of us know people like this. The people that offer to buy you something but don't really want to buy you something. To somebody that says, hey, do you want to try my dinner? But they don't really want you to try their dinner. So it's like a person that offers a good deed in the hopes that they never actually have to give it, which is not really a good deed. It's a fake deed. And it's like the deed to the house that's signed by Donald Duck. So she offered to buy me breakfast. Now, mind you, I drove us to the place of breakfast, to the establishment. And I'd been driving her all over, had to drive her to the mall. And I had to be her fake boyfriend when she tried on clothes and had to tell her for 2.5 hours that she was pretty and it was fine and she doesn't look fat and yada yada. So, and I couldn't go to any store I wanted to go to without her getting pissed off eventually and wanting to go home. So she could go to 10 stores, I could go to maybe 2, even though I was the driver and and I'm a human being who can make my own decisions. When you go to the mall with somebody and they want to go to a store, let them go to the store and go to your store. And if they're utterly ridiculous like her, then just let her go to her store and go to your store. Because you get to a point where you don't want to deal with it anymore. And I wasn't even dating this person. So, I'm like, I don't sleep next to this person. I don't break bread with this person. Like, this is ridiculous. So, but the story goes back to, I drove us with my miles and my gas to the establishment to get breakfast. She offered to pay for it. She handed me her credit card. I said, thank you. She goes, wow, you took that quick. And I was like, what are you talking about? Took the credit card right out of my hand. Yeah, because you offered to pay for breakfast. And in my head, I'm thinking, she doesn't pay for anything ever. She eats all the food. She eats the food in my house. She doesn't pay for anything. She doesn't do anything. She's a slob. She leaves stuff all over my house. like a tornado, and she never cleans up after herself. She never offers to clean up. She never gives us any money for anything, hardly ever. So, and she has all this money saved. So she gets me breakfast and got mad that I said, okay. We should do good deeds for others. Okay? When I offer my mom, hey, Mom, do you want me to buy lunch? No, honey, it's okay. Well, do you want money? I have cash. I mean that. Okay? We all want to hold on to our money. We all want people to go, no, it's fine. But you know what? It's nice to buy lunch for your mom. It's nice to buy dinner for your dad. Okay? I like doing that stuff. My parents do a lot for me. They do a lot for me. I'm 36 years old, and my parents are still hospitable, and they're still kind, and they ask me to go to lunch and dinner all the time, and 99% of the time they pay, and they want to pay, and when my fiance comes, they want to pay for her, and they want to take care of that. My mom baked cookies for us just out of the goodness of her heart, wanted to drop those off last weekend just because she loves my fiance and she loves me. And that was it. She came over, she dropped off cookies, she sat with us for a little bit, and she went home, because she's a sweet woman. She's a sweet lady. So it's important to do stuff for other people. And it's important to not just say you're going to do stuff for other people, but to actually do it. And Greg said it sounds like an exhausting friendship. Which one are you talking about, Greg? The lady that got mad, that was joking with me about, not joking with me, but Greg, I wonder here, what exhausting friendship? The person that owes me $200 or the person that paid $1.67 for my bagel and got mad about it? But, or both. But yeah, so to go back to the friend that owed me $400, that still, mind you, to this day, 8 years later, still owes me $200. That friend, one of the last times we saw each other, we were sitting, taking a break. We were sitting on a couch. And I said to him, like, why do you do what you do? And, like, why aren't you there for me? And I tell you I love you, and I tell you I appreciate you as a friend. Why aren't you there for me? And he sat in silence. And I was like, no, seriously. And I think I asked him like 2 or 3 times. And then he looked at me and he goes, well, I'm selfish. He said, I'm selfish. We're not the same. I'm more selfish than you are. And after he said that, it was like, now that you know that I'm selfish, either accept me or don't. I'm not going to change. And I sat there and I thought to myself, could you do that in a court of law? Yeah, I murdered somebody, but I'm a murderer. So now that you know that I murder, you can't really be mad at me for it. And I shouldn't really get in trouble because I'm admitting to you I'm a murderer. It's like somebody admitting to you something wrong about them, something that's not kind about them, and then going, well, that's fine. And it's funny that Greg put female quote-unquote friend, and she was a friend. She was actually the sister of somebody that I had dated. So, but, yeah, I mean, it's somebody literally saying to me, I'm selfish. Now you know. Now we both know. Now it's open and it's in the air. So now you can never be mad at me for being selfish. Because I told you that I am. And I thought to myself, how does that work? What if I said to my fiance, yeah, I'm never going to pay for dinner. And I'm never going to rub your back. Because I'm selfish. So you need to rub my back and you need to buy stuff for me and I'm never going to do it for you because I'm selfish. Well, now that I told you, now that it's out in the open, let's get married and you can't be mad at me ever for being selfish because I said it to you. How does that work in life? That you can walk up to someone and say, oh, I'm a cheater. I cheat on people. So now that you know that I cheat, can't be mad at it because I told you. It's like, it's still wrong. Now, I'm not friends with either one of these people anymore. Mind you, the female that got mad at, God forbid, having to do one thing and lift one finger, hoarded money, and talked to me on the phone one day and said, was living with her mother, grown woman, late 20s, which is fine, but taking advantage of her mother, which is not fine. And her mom paid for her groceries. Her mom paid for her car insurance. Her mom paid for her car. Her mom paid for her student loans. Her mom paid for when she traveled on a plane. Her mom paid for her clothes. Paid for literally everything. Literally everything. And living in the house rent-free. on the phone with her one day, and she goes, "Can you believe that my mom is making me pay for my student loans?" I said, "Yep, because they're your student loans. I pay my student loans. My dad helped me in the beginning, and then I took them because I'm a big boy with big boy pants, and I've been paying my student loans for years. And when I got myself at a place where I could afford to take over all this stuff, my dad said, here you go. Here you go." And I was like, yeah, you know what? To me, I wanted to pay him the whole time because it's important to me to establish the fact that I'm going to take care of myself. So she said, "Can you believe I have to pay this bill?" And I said, yeah, because out of the 10 bills you could be paying, your mom pays for 9 of them. She's asking you to pay for 1. Now, keep in mind, her mom was also giving her checks for no reason, just giving her money. Her grandfather was giving her money. So she's taking all this money, hoarding this money, putting it away, and not spending anything, unless it was on herself. So she very easily could have had 30 grand in the bank, and her mom's still buying her yogurt and still wiping her feet and wiping her butt. And I'm thinking to myself, how do you live like that? But when you coddle somebody and you allow, and I was having a conversation yesterday with somebody whose brother takes advantage of that and just gets handed money all the time. Gets handed to it from grown person, like older than 40 years old. Gets money from their parents, still at 40 plus, gets money from their parents, uses it, gets money again, and then the other kid, who's a really good kid who makes money on their own and is self-sufficient and responsible and takes care of themselves, never gives that kid a penny. The parents punish that kid for being responsible and productive and give a ton of money to the kid who's not responsible and just is constantly asking for handouts. But you create that, right? When somebody does that, you create that. If I had a kid and was like, "Dad, can I have $20? Well, what's it for, son? What's it for, daughter?" They let me know. And if I think, okay, then we'll do it. And I'll say, hey, but next time we're going to earn this, okay? We're going to earn it. We're going to earn it. You want $20? Then we're going to rake the leaves, okay? I'm going to teach them. Because my parents gave me an allowance twice in my life for a short period of time. But in reality, like, I did chores just because. My parents didn't give me allowance for a long period of time in my life. It was a couple times in my life growing up as a kid, but that was it. I mowed lawns, got paid $10 a lawn. I started work when I was 14 and a half, got my first paycheck. Then I worked at a grocery store. I worked at a car rental place. I worked at a movie theater. Like, I made my money. When I went to college, I had $4,000 saved. Do you know that $4,000 lasted me through the 4 years of college? Because I would go to a movie here and take a little trip here and buy a little something here. That money lasted me almost all 4 years of college because it was my pot of money to spend on my extracurriculars. I'm not a drinker. I don't go clubbing. I love to dance, but I'm just not at a club. So I wasn't spending money foolishly for the most part. There were times where, I don't want to say foolishly. It's not foolish, but I would spend money on other people, and then after the fact be like, oh, well, that's how they treated me. Why did I spend that money? But it was out of the goodness of my heart at the time, so it wasn't foolish. And I would make that money last, and I would make that money grow. But to me, it is the annoying moment of the week to have people that do these things, right, and treat people in such a way and take advantage of people. But also shame on the people that allow them to take advantage of them, right? Because that is just simply, in all walks of the imagination, it's wrong, right? You let somebody take advantage of you, don't be surprised that they're taking advantage of you. When he told me, well, I'm selfish and that's just how it is, and he just shrugged his shoulders and kept on drinking his drink and eating his food, just kind of shrugged his shoulders and that was it. There's 5 churros, he wants to eat we both get 2. He wants to eat the last one because he doesn't care about you. And he told you to your face that he cares about himself more than anything else. And now that he's told you, it's okay. It's not wrong because he said something. And we're not friends anymore. And that female, we're not friends anymore because I don't allow abuse to continue in my life. I will call it out. I will give somebody an opportunity to figure it out, and then I move on. Or I stay based on what happens. But you don't get to treat people like that and not have a repercussion And so those of you, and I blame the parents a lot of times on this stuff, when you allow your children to abuse you, they only will go on and abuse other people. And that's reality. When you don't raise your children and you leave it to the world to raise your children, that is a ridiculous thing to expect of us, and we have our own lives to deal with. So when you don't raise your children, who's going to raise them? And that's unfortunate, and I just shake my head at it because I'm still owed $200 and I'm owed a million of apologies, but I'm never going to get that. And I made peace with that. And I'm okay with that. You just think you'd be a little bit smarter than to post a $1,900 purchase when you owe your friend $200. That's all I'm saying. So we'll take a step aside for on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Hey, be smart enough for that, right? To be like, okay, I just told somebody I couldn't pay them, so maybe I shouldn't go and buy, something huge and throw it in their face, essentially. So, because I wasn't the only one that saw it. So with that being said, we'll take a step aside for a fast break on Wake. But like I said, I made peace with it, and there's nothing you could do about it. We're not friends anymore. And the sad thing about it is, I feel like I was a good friend to him. Haven't heard from him since. Not since. And that's sad, because out of everything he did to me, I never did it back to him. Never took advantage. Never tried to take advantage. I would ask for stuff production-wise. Can you make this commercial? Can you cut this? Can you do this for me? Can you help me out? And he did. He could have said no, but, I wanted him to help me. And I wanted him to work with me. And it would take him weeks and months to get back to you. And recently, it was his birthday. I wished him a happy birthday, because that's who I am as a human being. Did he wish me a happy birthday on my birthday? No. But that's okay. It's sad. It's sad when you see somebody hurt somebody. It's more sad when you see them not grow or learn from it. And my parents taught me that you shouldn't do something wrong, but if you do, you should get better from it. You should not do it again. And shame on the people that hurt people and then continue hurting people and don't stop. Because the only thing worse than hurting somebody is continuing to hurt that person or somebody else without learning anything from it. Or if you learn something from it, never implementing it. Saying you're selfish is not an excuse. It's an admission of guilt. It's like going to court and pleading no contest. So you're still going to jail. You just admitted it and saved us all some time. With that being said, we'll take a step aside on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We'll be back with Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, but not before we say thanks once again to Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week. 7 days a week, all throughout the year, outside of major holidays where they may be closed down for the day or so, like Christmas and whatnot, but there for you all throughout the year, every single month, every single season, because their fantastic flavor there's never a bad day to get Carvel. I don't care if it's negative 12 degrees outside. There is never a bad day for that fantastic flavor. They are the ice cream cake, not a. They are the ice cream cake. They are the staple. I consider everybody else a copycat. Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. And Greg, that Sunday is coming out very, very soon, as promised. So thank you for your patience, and I appreciate y'all. We'll take a step aside for a fast break and be back with Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. Today's topic is going to be being a true leader, right after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios where sports meets that thing called life. Cafe Kubal here for you on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, also inside of the giant behemoth of a brown stripe building, 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, in their double-decker cafe with now an expanded parking lot. And, of course, go to the drive-thru right by the airport on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road. Everybody knows this that knows Central New York. Sweetheart Corners and Sweetheart Markets used to be incredible. They made my cakes by hand every birthday. Shout out to my mom and dad for getting me my Goofy cake, my Pluto cake, my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cake, all from Sweetheart, right at Sweetheart Corners, Cafe Kubal, there in a very nostalgic place for me, on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse with their drive-thru. So go get your cup filled up right today. Get their sandwiches, get their amazing chocolate chip banana bread, their cookies, everything they have to offer, from their snacks to their food to their drinks. Cafe Kubal is second to none, and I love the fact that we get to come to you live from the Cafe Kubal studios Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Of course, on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, and MixLR.com, all / Wake Up Call DT to keep it easy. Go to wakeupcalldt.com and you can click on the MixLR tab that's there and you can listen on our website. And of course, you can go to Facebook.com / LiveNowDT where it's shared as well in two places on Facebook. So, with that being said, it's time to jump into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver is what the acronym stands for. And Lead is here with us today to speak on the topic, being a true leader. Being a true leader. What does it mean to be a true leader? Well, a true leader has to understand that when you lead, it doesn't mean that you just get to boss people around. That's not what leadership is. Leadership is taking care of those, and it's learning. It's learning from others. It's learning from others. That's what that is. If we fail to learn from each other, then what are we doing? Right? A leader today, in a world that seems like we lack leadership. That's why I wanted to talk about this today. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. God is my leader. I look to God. When I'm wondering if I did something wrong, I look to God. When I'm wondering if I should be upset about a situation, I look to God. When I'm looking for a way to move forward, I look to God. When I'm looking for guidance, I look to God. When I'm looking for protection, I look to God. In the world that we live in, so many people are looking for God in other things. And this is what I find really interesting to me. Instead of believing in God, praying to God, worshiping God, and standing by God, you spend your whole life looking for something that'll be God for you. It's like saying you want to drive a Tesla and then driving a Toyota and pretending it's a Tesla. It's not a Tesla. And no matter what you do to it, it's not going to be a Tesla. It's like saying you want a barbecue chicken sandwich and ordering peanut butter and jelly and then trying to make it taste like barbecue chicken. It's not barbecue chicken. It's peanut butter and jelly. You have a God waiting there with his arms wide open, waiting for you to run into his arms and hug him. And you want to make your Xbox God, and your car God, and the mall God, and your girlfriend God, and your boyfriend God, and your husband and your wife God, and the places you go to visit God, and all the stuff that you own, your bank account God. It's not God. When you worship other things, you get lost. When you worship other things, they're not going to give you what you want. Okay? Well, what do you mean, Dan? Money can give me what I want. Really? Look at the people that hoard stuff. They might have everything that they want. Do they have what they need? And do they have everything they want? Because usually people that want continue to want. I've worked with people before where you make them double their money. They wanted more. It wasn't enough. It was never enough. And it'll never be enough. I know people that kept buying and kept buying. It wasn't enough. People that kept taking money from their family members and putting it in their bank account. And they wanted more. It wasn't enough. Somebody would do them a favor. They should have done them 2 favors. It wasn't enough. When you make your God into something that is not God, you can never truly lead your own life. You can never truly figure things out completely. Without God, you fail. And I'm not on here telling people that they have to believe. I'm just looking at a world that is trying to take God out of schools, out of businesses, out of relationships, out of sports, out of the media. We are arguably the worst that we have ever been in America in the 36 years that I've been alive. And this is also the most I've seen anti-God in my life. That's always correlated with me. The more you take God out of society, the more society demises. The more you take God out, the less good is in the world. You can't spell good without God. And I find it funny that people say, oh, no, this is just, no. We've lost our leadership, and our leaders don't lead anymore. You ask people that are Democrat or Republican, do you trust your politician? Most people say no. Most people with a level head and that have that actually pay somewhat attention, they say no. I know people that don't vote because they don't believe because they don't vote because they don't want to get involved. Now, do I think you should vote? Yeah, I do. But they don't vote because, it's not something. Listen, if people were doing their jobs and people were making people feel safe, then I feel like people would want to vote. I feel like people would want to go out there, right? Want to be a part of it. Now, I vote I do. Because there were times when I missed an election. Yeah, there's been times where I missed it. And I think back on that day and I'm like, man, I should have left a little bit earlier. I should have done this. I should have went over there. But I vote. I vote every year now. I vote every year. I drove home one time to vote. I drove home from Marywood to vote. I had until 9 p.m. to get home. I drove home to vote. I did. I had to vote. Mind you, voting is what, on a Tuesday? I drove home to vote. Because in November. So obviously, you're in the thick of things. You're in school, right? You're still going to class. You're getting ready for finals in your fall semester. And I drove home so I could vote. I love voting. And I try to do my due diligence, right? I try to understand who am I voting for, what's going on with this. I don't get to vote. And the thing is, what I don't like is where I live, I don't get to vote in everything that I think is... I don't think that I get to vote for all the people that are affecting my area and affecting potentially what goes on in my environment. And I think that that's wrong. I think there should be voter expansion where I have a say in the people that are being voted for that I think can have a direct effect on my life. Because there's certain things we don't get to vote for where I live, and we're like 15 minutes removed from that area, and I think that that's wrong, because how does that person not affect me? I feel like they do affect me. I feel like they affect a lot. So, I think there needs to be changes in voting where we get a bigger voice, especially where I am, and I'm sure other people probably feel that way in certain parts of the country. But I don't care what side of the coin you're on. What I care about is the fact that we don't have leadership in this country right now. There's no reason why gas should be $5. There's no reason. Think about it like this, okay? Think about it like this. If they tell you it's supply and demand, just go with me on this for a second. If they tell you it's supply and demand, how come they were able to lower it 40 cents in Syracuse and then raise it right back up? How come they went down to $4.59, $4.69, and then back up to $4.99? How could they do that? All they did was just move it down, move it back up. How can they do that? If they have no control over it, how do they control it? If they have no control over gas, how do they control it? When they say, well, gas is going to go down for Memorial Day, shouldn't gas go up for Memorial Day? More people are traveling. More people are going out. So they tell you it's supply and demand, but on a day where there would be more demand for the supply, they lowered the gas price. Now, I'm not knocking that they lowered the gas price, but why did it go back up? You threw us a bone? Hey, if you're traveling with your family on Memorial Day, it'll be $4.69. A week later, it'll be $4.99 again. Now it's $5. Gas should never be $5 in Syracuse. Okay? We're a beautiful, wonderful city, but we are not Atlanta. We are not Orlando. We are not Los Angeles. We should not be $5. That's ridiculous. A price hike in Syracuse at most should be $3 a gallon. And that's pushing it. Okay? We are blue-collar, hard-working people. We don't need to be paying $5 for gas. Okay? That's not leadership. You're trying to force people to buy electric cars. So what you're doing is you're trying to raise the price point so high that you pull people out of the market. You're trying to force people, because people don't want to buy electric cars, you're trying to force feed them electric cars by making it impossible for them to afford gas. You're just strangling people until they can't breathe anymore. And then you're handing them an electric car and saying, look, this is what you wanted. No, it's not what I want. It's what I have to get because I can't afford the gas anymore. That's not leadership. It's not leadership to continue to group people. Care about black people. Care about white people. Care about Asians. Care about Mexicans. Care about women. Care about men. How about care about everybody? Who is going to fight somebody that says we should care about everybody? But people fight about that. Every single life on this planet matters. And I'm not here to hashtag anything. God is the God of everybody. God doesn't say your life matters, your life doesn't. Okay? Humanity does that. Everybody's life matters. I don't treat someone who's black different than somebody who's white. I don't treat a woman different than a man. I don't treat someone who speaks Spanish different than somebody who speaks English. They all matter to God, so they all matter to me. It's as simple as that. Our leadership today is divide and conquer. Split everybody into groups, make them point fingers at each other, give them reasons to hate each other, raise gas prices at the same time. You want to know why people are being violent and people are being crazy? You're taking away their money, you're suffocating them, and you're making them distrust people who don't look like them and sound like them. People are scared, spread thin, desperate, and depressed. And you wonder why people are violent, and you wonder why people are angry. We've been set up to be in the place we're at right now. And shame on leadership. And I'm not talking about one party. I'm talking about leaders. I'm talking about CEOs. I'm a CEO and a president. I'm talking about CEOs and presidents. I'm talking about health insurance companies. Health insurance companies. I got sent a $5,000 bill a year after I went to the hospital. A year after. This is past due. They never sent me a bill. In what world do you all of a sudden wake up and go, hey, Dan owes us $5,500? Yeah, that sounds right. Since when? Since when do I owe you that? And then I paid a bill and they go, oh yeah, you have another bill. You paid this $800 bill, now you got a $5,500 bill. Where'd the $5,500 bill come from? Just make it up? I got charged $500 for COVID testing? I thought it was free. I got charged $500 for an office visit? I thought it was $100. I went to an urgent care place instead of my primary care physician, and it cost 5 times what my primary care physician costs? Really? I mean, I look at leadership today and just seeing people cut corners. Look at Disney. Look at Disney. You know what I heard from a Disney worker? I told her we got engaged. I said, do you do anything for that? She said, we used to. She said, they don't let us do anything anymore. She goes, and by the way, the cakes, they're a lot smaller now. We don't do what we used to do. They shrunk the cakes. We don't offer them for everything. She said, if you have a birthday, you get a little tiny cupcake. She said, you should see this cupcake. You get a little tiny cupcake for your birthday. Because Disney doesn't even want to celebrate that. Because they don't want to pay for the cupcake. It's one of my favorite restaurants at Disney. Is $20 more than it used to be. And they give you less food now. They raise the price $20, they give you less. Well, everybody's hurting, Dan. Have I given less to my clients? Have I given less to my partners? I do more work now than I did back then. I just gave one of my clients an extra live broadcast. I gave one of my other clients an extra show. I'm giving more. And I have a client coming on and I offered them something on top of what they were getting, on top of what they were paying for. I said, hey, why don't you do this too? I'm offering more. And the businesses around me are offering less. That's not leadership. Well, Dan, we got to do this, and Dan, we got to... Listen, I understand. The price of wings go up during the Super Bowl, so you have to raise your price temporarily. I get that. But what is leadership? Is leadership squeezing people that have already been squeezed? I'm not squeezing people. Trust me. The amount of money that I should be asking for people to spend, I'm not asking for what I'm worth all the time. And that's because I want to be affordable. I don't want to corner people out of the market, and I want to help people. I'm willing to take less to bring you on to work with people. I know what I'm worth. I should be making $1 million right now. For what I give, for what I do, for who I am and how I go about what I do, for my personality, my ability, my God-given talent, my hard work, my enthusiasm, and the way that I tackle things, I should be a millionaire right now. At 36 years old, I should be making $1 million because I believe that much in my dreams and how I tackle them and in the beautiful gifts that God has given me. And that is not cockiness, it's confidence. I believe in myself so much that if somebody handed me $1 million today, and see, I'm not about the money, so it's weird for me to say this, but what I'm trying to establish is my value to me has no ceiling. But do I ask for $1 million? No. If I did, do I feel like I have every right to? Absolutely. Absolutely. When I worked at radio stations and I saw what we charged them for a 30-second commercial, $500 for a 30-second commercial. $500 for one commercial. Played within a 3-hour period that changes every day. That most people will never hear. $500. You kidding me? So, I think what is true leadership? It is, to me, it's believing in God and understanding that you're not the almighty leader. It's also understanding when you need to follow. You always need to follow God. I don't care how big of a leader you are in today's world, you have to follow God. Or else you're going to go off a cliff at some point. And what is leadership to me? It's listening to the people. If I was president of the United States right now, I would know that my people are suffering. They don't trust each other. They don't talk to each other. They're afraid to go to the mall. They're afraid to go to school. They're afraid to go to the movie theater. They feel disrespected and lied to when it comes to gas prices and prices in the grocery store. They feel like they can't do the things they want to do, and they've worked so hard and saved up money their entire lives, and you're taking it from them. They saved up enough money to take 3 trips, and now they can only take 1 because of the cost of everything. If I was the President of the United States today, leadership would be a forgotten art that I would have to go to a canvas and start painting again. We've had presidents that have ended slavery. We've had presidents that have tried to bring people together. We've had presidents that navigated through depressions. We've had presidents that navigated through war. We've had presidents that have tried to create freedom for ourselves and others. If I was the President of the United States today, I would first and foremost have to start with telling people we love you and we're sorry and you deserve better. So I don't look for the President of the United States to be my leader. I don't look for a CEO of another company to be my leader. God is I'm not even my own leader. God is my leader. Do I lead my own life? Absolutely. Am I a leader to myself? Yes. But my ultimate leader is God. Maybe that's a better way to put it. I lead every single day. I don't ask anybody to take me by their coattails and, pull me in a wagon. But God is my leader. God is my guide. God is the one place that I always go to, where I feel safe, I feel heard, and I know I'm going to be okay. And I know I'm going to make the right decision. I go to the big guy. And that's it. So, being a true leader to me is being a really good follower. It's listening to the people that you lead. And it's understanding that just because you got the job doesn't mean that you should keep the job. And just because you got the job doesn't mean you're good at it. There are a lot of presidents, a lot of CEOs, a lot of people that are responsible for other people. Every parent is responsible for somebody. Every guardian is responsible for somebody. Every teacher is responsible for somebody. Every coach is responsible for somebody. But that doesn't mean that they're responsible. Just because they're in a position of responsibility doesn't mean that they're automatically responsible. Just because you're a leader doesn't mean you know how to lead. You lead by learning about those that you are leading, learning about your surroundings, learning about yourself, learning about others. You evolve, you grow over time, you learn things, and you implement those things that you learned. You become better today than you were yesterday, even if it's just by a little bit. You ad-lib. You understand that life is not going to go how you want it to go more often than not, and you have to be able to ad-lib in the moment and change direction if there's a dead end to be able to figure out how to still get over that mountain. And you have to deliver on your promises. Being a good leader is everything that we embody in the acronym every week on LEAD from Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. A good leader, a great leader, learns, evolves, ad-libs, and delivers on their promises. Anybody can make a promise. Not everybody keeps it. Anybody can say they're good on the fly, but how do they act in the middle of a storm? Anybody can say they're evolving, but look at their track record, look at their habits. Are they evolving or devolving? And everybody says that they learn things, but how many of them actually put them to good use? Every single person on this planet at some point in their life will be asked to lead. That doesn't mean that they're a leader. But you're going to have to learn, how to evolve, how to ad-lib, and how to deliver. And to me, in my opinion, and you can all have your opinion because you're entitled to that, the way that I learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver, the way that I become a good leader, is by following the only one that was ever meant to truly lead us all. Amen on that. We'll take a step aside on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Thank you, God, for all you do. Inside of this from Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, very excited. The other thing that we do with Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay is we spotlight their team members, and Adriana Lugo is going to be joining me over the weekend to tell her story, and I cannot wait to share that with you on Sunday on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So make sure you subscribe and you're ready for that this Sunday. We'll take a step aside for a fast break and come back with the top dog of the week right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin them milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, and 401 South Salina Street. So make sure you're hanging out with us at Cafe Kubal in Syracuse. You can also go to Cafe Kubal on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse for their drive-thru location and to their giant behemoth of a brown stripe building that is the Welcome Center of Manlius, in my opinion, where all the roads converge. You can find them there at their double-decker cafe and on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. So make sure you head out to Cafe Kubal today. Continuing on inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Before our trio of Marywood softball players join the show, we have our trio of segments. We've done the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. And our top dog of the week is now here for us to be announced by Lily and Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. The top dog of the week for this week, folks, I am very happy, honored, and privileged to know this top dog and to be able to have met her for the first time ever. She is being honored and inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame this weekend, and I am so very grateful and appreciative for the opportunity, like I said, to meet her and to be able to do a show with her and sit down next to her and just get to spend time with this incredible, incredible human being, and that is Christy Salters Martin. Christy Salters Martin, as well as her partner Lisa, phenomenal to sit down with them both and spend time with them. I want to thank the fantastic team at PB&J's Lunchbox, and I want to thank Pat and Sue for being absolutely amazing in giving me the opportunity to sit down with Christy Salters Martin. You don't want to miss our heartfelt special with the Boxing Hall of Famer, who also has a Netflix special out, and on top of all of that, has her book being released here. So I do want to, I kind of have a show and tell here today for Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. So it's time to do some show and tell and bring it up on the screen. And our top dog of the week, brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, Christy Salters Martin. And you can see this right here. This is her book, and it's called Fighting for Survival: My Journey Through Boxing Fame, Abuse, Murder, and Resurrection. Fighting for Survival, from Christy Martin with Ron Borges here. So a big shout out to Christy. Her book just went on sale. I believe the event that we did at PB&J's Lunchbox was her first ever book signing for this book, and the first time that the book was actually available to the public. So first time you could buy the book, and first time that you could have the book signed. You can go out and see Christy over the weekend at the International Boxing Hall of Fame and all the festivities. Buy a book and get it signed. Please make sure that you do that, folks, as I am so incredibly grateful that I got to do that. And also, and this is a shout out to Pat Orr for this, because Pat said, she goes, why don't you do this when you meet Christy. And so these will be going in the studio. I have 2 of them, and I'm very excited to have them both, as I have 2 boxing gloves here, and you can kind of read this one. It says, "To Dan, keep punching, Christy Martin." And so I have this one that's signed by Christy, and then I also have this one signed by Christy as well, and this one signed here by Christy Martin, and this is just her signature here with that shiny silver Sharpie. So I have a Christy Martin Everlast glove there that has her autograph on it, and then this one has her autograph, and it says, "To Dan, keep punching." So a big shout out to Christy for both of these. Christy Salters Martin is my top dog of the week. Go watch the special. Watch it, share it, send it to a loved one, watch it again. It is an incredible special with an incredible person. Do not miss it. Go watch the special on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, on facebook.com/wakeupcalldT, and I will be sure to share it, and I'll also share it on my Instagram story. Do not miss it. Go and watch it. Christy Salters Martin, my top dog of the week, for never giving up on her dreams, never giving up on herself, never back then too. It's like being a woman in boxing was frowned upon. So thank you, Christy, for not giving up on your dreams. Thank you for respecting yourself as a person, as a woman, and as Christy Salters Martin yourself. Thank you for what you did for women. Thank you for what you did for people who go through domestic abuse and violence. Thank you for people who are abused verbally and physically, to know that there is a way out. Thank you for everything that you have done for us. I cannot thank you enough and cannot appreciate you enough. You are very proudly our top dog of the week. Congratulations, and God bless you. Top Dog of the Week proudly brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. A big shout out to them in East Syracuse, and a big shout out to Christy Salters Martin. Go out and see her in Canastota area as she is honored into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Do not miss this weekend. We love you. We appreciate you. We applaud you. Shout out to Lisa. We love you too. And shout out to everybody out there. Thank you to Ron for working with her on this book project. Go out and buy her book. Go out and see Christy. Go out and support women in sports and just be an all-around good human being. And if you are someone who has been abused or is being abused, know that there is a way out. Please don't give up, and please don't think that you have to stay there. And definitely listen to her story. And if you're someone who is abusive, please, I pray by the grace of God that you turn the corner today and you stop. So, to the victims, to the abusers, and to everybody out there that needs a prayer, we love you, we appreciate you, and we send those prayers your way. My top dog of the week, Christy Salters Martin. Go watch the video. youtube.com/wakeupcalldT. Subscribe to all of our shows so you never miss a broadcast again. And please go check out Christy and the story that we got to tell from her on PB&J at PB&J's Lunchbox. Thank you to those of you that showed up to support Christy and to buy her book and get it autographed, and to see Christy and show her some love. In the meantime, we'll take a step aside for a fast break in the Cafe Kubal studios. When we come back, we have the final portion of today's broadcast, which are your Marywood Pacers softball team, a trio of fantastic young women joining the show: Ashdon Clark, Emily Rose, and Brooke McKay, right after this. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicoli's.com. That's myavicoli's.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and Kampground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Ladies, how are you?
Doing good.
Now, first and foremost, I'll go to you, Ashdon, here, to just bring me into this season and what your thoughts are now, hindsight 2020, that you could take a breath and take a look back. What's kind of on your mind when you look back on this season?
This season, I think, was definitely record-breaking for the program and something that I myself have never experienced. Being like a transfer student in my first year at Marywood, this is definitely something that I was looking forward to. And I think we have a lot to look forward to next season as well.
And you transferred from Concordia, and just bring me into that, because it was a unique transfer, right? Because there was a closing of that school. So just what you could say about why Marywood and what made you transfer here.
So obviously Concordia closing was definitely heartbreaking for me, something that I never expected to happen. And I kind of had a choice to make of whether I wanted to hang up my cleats or not. And Marywood swooped in and said, no. I'll be honest, I had no intentions of going to Marywood. I was going to Wilkes and I was not playing softball, and that was really it. And I made that decision for myself, and I will say that is the best decision that I've ever made, was to come to Marywood. They have a great education program. They have a great softball program. So just those two things combined was what drew me to Marywood.
And you said that you were going to Wilkes, you weren't going to play softball. How you talked about the things that Marywood has that you're happy you made the decision, but how did you even kind of open your mind up to listen to Marywood when you said, hey, I know I'm going to Wilkes, it's set, I'm done? What did Marywood do to stop you and make you say, hey, you know what, before you make the decision, just hear us out?
Well, their education program, so at first when I applied and all of that stuff, they gave me like a very low amount of credits. They only gave me 30 credits out of my 96 that I had transferring in. So that's kind of what said, no, that's not happening. And then I listened to my parents, I listened to my friends, and I asked for a reevaluation on all of those credits, and they ended up coming with the same amount that Wilkes did. So either way, I was in the same position, whether what school I went to. And then it came down to softball. So it was either I play or I don't, and I didn't want to give that up yet.
Well, and we're happy that you didn't, obviously. Emily, you had the opportunity this season to start us off here and lead off and second that you had at Marywood softball this season. And according to Coach John Butash, he feels that you truly set the tone for the team. Would you say that as well?
I don't know if I necessarily set the tone, but it was definitely the opening of our season.
And when you look back on this season, you heard Ashdon talk about it a little bit. What are your favorite memories from this season? If you can pull up one or two things that really step out to you when I say the 2022 Marywood softball season, what are some of those memories that you're taking with you?
I think one of the main things is we clicked so well on the field. No matter what was going on off the field, once we stepped between the chalk lines, we just clicked so well. And I know we had a lot of injuries this season, and everybody stepped up when they needed to be. And I think that was the biggest thing with this season.
What is it about, you said off the field, that you clicked so well? Why do you believe this team was able to get along and continue that off the field? Because that is incredibly important to any successful team, is the ability to get along in practice, get along in the classroom, get along in the locker room. So why do you feel like this team got along so well?
I think a lot of us were just able to trust each other. Like, no matter, our team was just so deep that, like I said before, no matter if we suffered an injury, someone was there to back us up. And I think that trust played a big role in that this year.
Brooke, for you, hearing Emily talk about, injuries on the team and somebody having to be ready for that opportunity to come up, that doesn't, listen, injuries happen to almost every single team out there every single season, but not everybody has a team that can rise above it. Why did this team do so well with that?
I just think that everyone, we had a really good group of girls, and everyone was all equally worthy to be out there on the field. So when, a game would start and you're not in the lineup, I think that everyone else who was in the dugout, we were up on the fence, prepared for if a situation happened where someone needed to get thrown in last minute to, help out a teammate. I think that our team was always ready for everything. We were ready for anything that was possibly thrown at us. Last year, if you look at our season with COVID, we had like kind of a half season, and half of our season got shut down because we had like 3 or 4 girls have COVID. So I think last year really prepared us for this year. And I think it was kind of like a sigh of relief that like we were able to get a full season in. And yes, like Emily said, that there was a lot of injuries, but we had just had so many good players on the team that if there was that injury, we already had a girl on the team that could step up and fill that position for her.
it comes down to recruiting the right people, but it also comes down to personal responsibility. Brooke, I'll stay with you on this. Why do you feel like this team is so talented? Because you can have raw talent, but you have to train, you have to prepare yourself, you have to have, like I said, that responsibility that when you are called upon, you're ready for that. And that can't be taught. You know, you have to be able to within yourself say, you know what, this team matters to me. I care about this team. So why does this team have all of that? Because some of it is taught and some of it is not.
I just think it all just comes from our hearts. You know, I think that we've all played softball our entire lives, basically. And, you know, softball isn't just a game to us. You know, it's more than a game. It's friendships. It's memories. It's sadness. It's anger. You know, softball is such a mental game, and it's like you have to think positively, because if you don't think positively, you're out for the game. So I really do believe that, you know, all of us going into the game as a team saying, all right, we're going to do our best this game. We're going to have fun. We're going to go out there. We're going to cheer each other on and do the best that we can do. And I just feel like with all of us having that same mentality, that's what made us so successful.
Here with the Marywood University softball team celebrating much success this season, including their trip to the ECAC, a win in the ECAC for the first time ever, and ECAC champions for the first time ever. Ashdon, your thoughts on finishing off the season that way? Marywood was hoping for a postseason berth, hoping for a postseason opportunity, had, I believe, for softball, gotten to the ECAC 4 other times and lost those 4, won this time around, and then got crowned champions. A nice cherry on top of the Sunday of a fantastic season. What are your thoughts on being ECAC champions and making even more history in that respect?
Those games were particularly hard for me. I had suffered an injury in our conference, so I was kind of on the sidelines, and just seeing everyone work so well together, knowing that we had to come through multiple injuries to get there. And I think everyone did indeed step up in that sense. Everyone had, you know, their heads in the game, and we all were on the same page. We were all working towards the same goal, and that was the ECAC championship. So just seeing us work so well together and finally achieve a goal that we did set at the beginning of our season was just incredible to watch.
And for you to have to, like you said, watch that from the sidelines, do you have, is it bittersweet for you? Is it just sweet? I mean, how do you look back on it, knowing that, you know, these injuries that we've been talking about, you suffering one of those injuries and not being able to be out there, but still there? How do you look back upon that?
It definitely is bittersweet. I mean, I want nothing more than all of my best friends to succeed, and I got to watch that. Like, I want them to do better than I ever will do, and that's anything that I could ever want. So seeing that was just very bittersweet.
And Emily, for you to go back to the ECAC and look at, you know, what you achieved there as a team, as well as being crowned ECAC champions, those moments for you mean what, and how do you look back on them?
I have never been more thankful to be a part of this team and make history, and I wouldn't want to make history like this with anybody else.
So when you make that history and you have that, do you remember and it's something that I've never really asked in 18 plus years of broadcasting, but it's come to my mind recently, and some people know and some people don't. Do you remember the first person you hugged on the team?
I remember the first person I hugged when we made it to the conference championship.
All right, tell me who that was.
Sam Baltasitis.
Okay.
I don't know. It might have been Sam again, but I can't give you the 100% answer. But I do think it might have been Sam.
To be a part of that championship, and like you said, you wouldn't have wanted to do it with anybody else. Do you have a moment that when we talk about ECAC champions sticks out to you the most that you will always remember?
I just think that at that moment we were just playing in the moment. Like, there was nothing else that could tear us apart at that point. We already came so far that we were just all together. And I think the chemistry between all of us was just unmatched.
Brooke, for you, going back to that ECAC championship, what's standing out to you that makes you smile when you think back on it this morning?
Well, a lot of things. Being recognized as the tournament MVP was really awesome. I haven't been recognized like that in a very long time. And, you know, I sent out a text later to the team that night and I said, you know, this tournament MVP does not just belong to me. I just remember the game, you know, we're like a 5-inning team. We normally don't really get on the board or anything until roughly about the 5th inning. I know it makes all of our coaches go crazy. But when I could just remember the 5th inning of the first game, when we first, like, you know, cracked the game open and started off with some good hits, scored really, really good runs. And I just will always remember the 5th innings from the first and the second game, because the 5th, 6th, and 7th innings are always our best. And it's just, you know, losing the conference championship was obviously very upsetting for us. You know, we worked so hard and all we wanted was to be the AEC Division III champions. But obviously we fell a little bit short. But I just remember like the will and the grit that we used to just forget about that game and go into the ECAC tournament and just play Marywood softball. Go in there, forget about the rest of the season. The rest of the season, you had to think of it like it didn't even happen. It's a fresh start. And I feel like that gave us the motivation to just go out there and just have fun, because that's what softball is about. You know, it's like, you know, some people can make it this serious game and, you know, it ruins their moods if they don't get a good hit or if they make an error. But, you know, you just have to go out there and have fun. And I think we did that very well that game.
The Long Island accent finally came out. I heard it.
I was trying not to.
Tried the whole way through and then era. So we'll get back to that in a second, because I ironically was talking about Long Island because the softball team for Liverpool that's here in my hometown of Central and upstate New York is going down to Long Island to compete for a championship themselves in high school, which is pretty amazing. So we'll get back to that and we'll talk about era in a second. But Ashdon, I want to go to you here. Goldsboro, PA. We're going to talk about hometown, so perfect timing. Bring me into Goldsboro and growing up in Pennsylvania, and just what you can say about maybe your favorite things about being home.
Goldsboro is obviously very small. All my friends that I bring here, including Emily and Brooke, always make fun of me because I live in nowhere. Obviously, it's a small town. I went to North Pocono High School, so that's small. I will say I didn't really hang out with many people from North Pocono. I had my small group there, and then I had my other group from various different schools, which also includes Emily. This has been a big thing for me, and I've said it since the beginning of the season. Being home, I think when I went away to school in New York, I tried to get away, and now being home was probably the best decision that I've ever made for myself and just school, softball, everything. I think being home was the last thing I wanted to do, but it's the best thing for me.
I love how you ended that. Being home was the last thing I wanted to do, but the best thing for me. I obviously went to school at Marywood, grew up in Syracuse, 2 hours north. Never thought that I would necessarily, I shouldn't say never, but I didn't think I was going to be coming back. And it's where I started my company. It's the best decision I made. Why, for you, Ashdon, it was coming home the best?
It was just very humbling and, you know, kind of heartwarming to be back where I started with the people that I started it with. I think that was very, you know, heartwarming. And the biggest thing for me is to kind of end where I started. And now that I look back on that more, it's like, wow, this is exactly what I've always wanted.
You said that Emily and you had a friendship before Marywood. Did she help recruit you to Marywood?
I wouldn't say necessarily help recruit me, but the day that I decided, I did call her, and she was with our other teammate, Sam. And I'm pretty sure her jaw hit the floor Actually, both of their jaws hit the floor. And just that reaction alone is just everything that I needed in that moment.
Emily, you heard her say, not necessarily, but be honest. Did you try to, even low-key, recruit her a little bit?
I think once she told me that Concordia closed and she was like weighing out her options, I think I, maybe pushed her a little bit, but I don't think I would necessarily recruit her. But I did tell her to come play softball for Marywood.
What is it about your bond and your relationship that you had even before Marywood that means so much to you with Ashdon?
She's always been there. Like, since we have been 14 years old, it's always been her and I. And even when she went away to school, like, yeah, we didn't talk every day, but I know that if I called her, she called me. One of us was always there for each other.
You're coming from Scranton, Pennsylvania, so a very far move to Marywood University. What can you tell me about Scranton having, obviously I was there for Marywood for 4 years. I lived for a couple years after and worked downtown. So I know what I think about Scranton, but tell me what your thoughts are on Scranton and maybe some of your go-to things to do.
Well, there's different parts of Scranton. I'm from the west part of Scranton, so that's a big thing. I feel like if you're not from the area, there's a lot to do here. Whereas growing up here, there's nothing to do here for me personally. But I'm kind of the opposite of Ashdon. I didn't want to stay here in the beginning, but I have two younger sisters that kind of like kept me here. And then I wasn't ready to hang my cleats up either. And Marywood gave me the best option. But once I graduate next year, I don't want to be in Scranton anymore.
So you stay here. Like you said, it wasn't necessarily the plan. Hindsight 2020, are you happy that you decided to stay and go to Marywood?
Yeah, I would not have wanted it any other way.
Brooke, now that it's out and we know that you're from Long Island, bring me into, now it's Riverhead, right?
Yes.
Okay. So ironically, last year around the same exact time, I was on Long Island. Sorry. But I was on Long Island for a while, for a few months. And so I got to learn about a bunch of different things, including the fact that you're never in Long Island, you're on Long Island. Yes. So bring me into how you would describe Long Island life.
A tough question. So when it's not tourist season, which includes basically all of the seasons of the year, Long Island is very fun. I'm kind of in the central of the North Fork. So where Riverhead is, I'm right in the middle, and then it branches off to the two forks. I do have the luxury of beaches surrounding me. I have the ocean, the sound, the bay. I have it all. We have really good, a lot of farm fields, a lot of farming, agriculture, and just being close to my family. My mom was like, when I first, wanted to go to Marywood, she was like, are you sure? Like, that's kind of far. Are you sure? Because I'm such a homebody. My family's my number one support. I go to them with anything. I'm very fortunate enough to have two really huge families that are so supportive of me. So I like when I come home, I'm just a few minutes away from all my family members. And that's what I love most about Long Island and coming home, is seeing my family.
I find it very interesting that what I've experienced of Long Island is the same, is that there's the family doesn't want you to go anywhere. They want you to stay. And then when you're done with whatever you're doing, they want you to come back. So are you going back to Long Island after Marywood or no?
I'm not sure yet. That's a question I'm still trying to figure out. My plan is to not come back to Long Island. I just don't think that, I'd want to start my adult life here. So my goal is to probably stay in Scranton, and, try to get a job at a hospital around the area there and work there for a few years. And then after a few years, kind of reevaluate where I want to go and where I want to be and move there.
I can appreciate that. And I know that when Mom hears this moment, she probably passed out, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We're going to get through it. Where's the best place to get bagels? Because I just had this conversation with the Liverpool softball team, and I don't ever get cream cheese anywhere. And I don't know if you've brought Ashdon and Emily down there. You should. But best bagels on the planet, I always get an egg bagel. And no matter where I go, they always have the walnut raisin cream cheese, which I love. But I have a few places on Long Island that I've been to. Do you have a place that you have to go to?
Well, see, that's another tough question. Every time I want a bagel, I have to kind of do my pros and cons because they're all so good. In my town, though, like my go-to place is definitely Bagel Lovers, which is in my town. I like Signature Bagels. I like Strathmore Bagels, but the top two would most likely be Bagel Lovers and Signature Bagels, and those are right here in Riverhead.
And I found out last summer that there is an egg everything bagel, which is the bonding of two incredible things. Emily, we're talking about food here. In Scranton, is there a go-to restaurant that you like to? I've been to a lot of places in Scranton, so is there a place that you like to go to? And I already know I'm prefacing this by stating the fact that the best thing that we're going to talk about food-wise are Long Island bagels, and I will fight anybody on that. But Emily, is there a best restaurant in Scranton?
Well, you picked a good question to ask me about food, I can tell you that. I don't have a favorite restaurant. See, I go out to eat so much that, like, I'm just all over. You know, the Glider is good, though.
The Glider Diner, yeah.
Glider, yes.
Dude, what do you get there?
Hot roast beef.
Which is exactly what I got. Enrico Mastro, the Marywood men's basketball head coach, were very close. He brought me there, and he was like, you can get whatever you want, but you got to get the hot roast beef. And I was like, well.
You have to. With gravy on the fries.
Yeah, very good. It was actually, that's one of the last things I got in Scranton. So yes. I agree with you on that. Ashdon, Goldsboro, I know it's small of the restaurant that is there. No, I'm kidding. But how many restaurants are in Goldsboro that you can remember or count? And is there a favorite one?
You're right with restaurant. There is only one. Both Emily and Brooke have eaten there, though.
Okay.
They've eaten there. Well, actually, it's called Main Street Deli.
Okay.
It was an old, tiny convenience store that they transformed into a restaurant, if that's what you want to call it. I don't really even know what to call it. But it's a small hole in the wall. Very good. About 3 minutes from my house. Okay. And that's all we have. That's about it.
What do you get to eat there?
Their pizza is good. I either usually get a wrap of some kind, some wings. Their truffle fries are very good.
Okay.
That's about
because
it.
There's one restaurant, they have to have it all.
Right.
So
right.
The truffle fries, though, I mean, that's a unique thing to have at a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a go-to. All right, fair enough. So as we get back here to the season itself, and we're going to do something at the end of the broadcast called Rapid Fire, and I'm just going to prepare you for this. We all get to ask each other questions that have nothing to do with sports, but you guys get to put me on the hot seat too. So it's not just you on the hot seat. I have to answer what you ask me. So Ashdon, I'm going to stay with you on this. Going back to this 2022 Marywood softball season, how would you describe your team's personalities in 3 words?
Do I get a minute to think about it?
Yeah, you do. You get a minute. Everybody will just stare at the screen around the world, but yes, you get a minute. I'll just tell everybody the feed froze. It'll be fine.
It's fine. Okay, I'll say the first 2. I think all of our personalities are unique.
Okay.
I want to say everyone is very selfless. I think that's a word that we've used a lot during the season, is being selfless.
Okay.
I think we've all kind of shown that. And I think the last one I could say is carefree. I think everyone has a very carefree, selfless, and unique personality that drew us all together.
I like that. Brooke, how would you describe your head coach, John Butash?
Oh, Coach John, we love him. He's just, like Ashton said, a very unique person. But, you know, he always has something to say. He always has a little fun fact for us when we don't need the fun fact, but he'll tell us anyways. And overall, he's a really great person. And, you know, he wants nothing but the best for the team. And, you know, softball is his life just as much as it's ours. So, yeah, he just always wants nothing but the best for all of us. And that's even not even just on the field, but academically as well. You know, if we have a test the next morning and we're like, oh, coach, I don't know if I can make it to practice, or, you know, I have class at this time, I can only come to practice for a little bit. You know, he's super understanding with that. And that's honestly what recruited me here my freshman year, is because Coach John was so, you know, so prompt that, you know, school comes first no matter what. Like, no matter anything, school is your main priority. That's why you're here at Marywood. So, and he's continued that all throughout my 3 years, and I just really appreciate that about him.
Appreciate that. Emily, best lesson that you've ever been taught when connected to Marywood softball, and who taught it to you?
I'm going to need a minute to think. I think this goes for all of our coaches that have taught me this, but once you step on that field, it doesn't matter what happens, because it's not going to matter 5 years from now. What's going to matter is, like, you know, if something doesn't go as well as you want it to, it goes off of how you handle it. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I have learned, that it all comes down to how you handle situations, which is going to prepare you for the future and for your future careers.
I love that, because, I mean, you can do everything you can, but you can't control everything. And you have to be able to respond positively to that which you cannot control. So it's an awesome lesson to learn. And on and off the field, we need it. Before we get into rapid fire, Ashton, the sport of softball is a sport that sometimes has the spotlight and the focus, sometimes it doesn't. Why should people pay attention to softball? And what do you want to say to the world about the sport that you love?
I think softball is such a great sport, and like you said, it doesn't get the recognition that it deserves sometimes. Personally, I think it's way better than baseball, but maybe that one. I think baseball is so boring, but I think softball not only teaches you lessons on the field, obviously it teaches you skills and things like that, but it teaches you so much more off the field than just being a sport. It teaches you how to make friendships and like sometimes presents you opportunities that you would have never thought you would be presented with. You face more failure in this sport than you do success. And I think that's hard for some people to kind of grasp, is that you will fail more times than you succeed. And being able to handle that failure and persevere through that. I don't know. I think it's a sport that's stacked on so many levels, and it should be paid more attention to in general.
I appreciate that. Emily, your thoughts on why softball, why pay attention to it, and where do you think it is in the world spotlight?
So I think that it's a major sport for obviously a lot of us, but I don't think it's recognized as much. I was actually having this conversation the other night that, you know, I've been watching like the Women's College World Series, and like, it's not that it's not, well, I mean, I guess it is not fair that after they win the World Series, they don't go anywhere. Whereas the guys have the MLB, they have the chance to strive for that. But then you look at all of the softball players, whether you're D1, D2, D3, and we're just playing now for the love of the game. Like, there's nothing that comes after this. So our hard work and dedication is just from the bottom of our hearts because we love the game, and it's something we always loved and wanted to do.
You know, playing for the love of the game is something that is sometimes a lost art in today's world. Should there be a place for professional softball in America where there can be this opportunity, like you said, Division I, Division II, Division III, JUCO? There's obviously many student athletes that want to be professional athletes and have that opportunity, and it's such a small percentage, but the WNBA has grown to 12 teams and finally has some good sponsorships, and it's out there. The NWSL has grown to 12 teams for soccer and finally has some good sponsorships and is out there. But when it comes to lacrosse and softball and other elements of the sports world, we just don't see the representation professionally. Does there need to be a change for that, Emily?
I think so, yeah. I just feel that it would just be so worldwide that, I don't know, I just think that if we had something like the MLB for women, more people would, be striving for that instead of just saying, oh, well, now I have to hang my cleats up. It's time for the real world.
I agree with you. I think there needs to be an opportunity. There needs to be an opportunity where that league can say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we'll take you or we won't. Not to not have a league where there is no opportunity. Brooke, your thoughts? Because the MLB is right there in your backyard. You have the Mets, you have the Yankees. The Yankees are good most of the time. The Mets are good for typically half a season. So are you a Mets fan? You just gave it an eye roll. Are you a Mets fan?
No, I am a born and raised Yankees fan.
Born and raised Yankees fan. Okay. Is the family divided at all between Mets and Yankees?
Yes, very much so. Most of my family are Mets fans, but it's kind of a 50-50 even break. So when it comes to the games, the once in a lifetime games where the Yankees play the Mets, as you can imagine, it gets a little hectic with our family. But I just love that we have that little rivalry, and it's just so fun to have that when you go over to a family's house. You can expect a baseball game to be on. I've been to Yankee Stadium only a few times. I'm not really a city girl. I don't like New York City. I think it's just because I'm so spoiled out here in the North Fork. It's just so country and so open, and it's like a breath of fresh air. And then when I go into the city, I just feel like all I smell is the pizza and the hot dogs and the nasty sewers. And it's not for me.
You were very nice, and I was going to say something if you didn't. When you're like, going in the city and I smell pizza, and I don't smell any food in the city. I smell only the sewer. So that's typically, I always say that Toronto is like New York City if it was clean and kind.
Yeah.
Because it's big and there's people everywhere, but it doesn't smell bad, and like everybody has a dog in Toronto and they're always walking them. But you just got really excited about Mets Yankees, right? And the rivalry and the family and all of that. Wouldn't that be awesome if we could talk about two teams in softball and there was something on Long Island and you could get that excited and feverish about that? Let's say, we had the Bandits and the Panthers playing each other, and half of your family was the Bandits and half of your family were the Panthers. You got so into Mets Yankees. I would love to see that for softball.
Who wouldn't want to see that? I'm sure it's the same for Emily and Ashton. But on my travel teams, we all come from different high schools. So we obviously have friends and high school teammates who were playing for different organizations. So there was always that competition between us, and, going to travel tournament games and seeing your high school teammate on the other team, you're like, oh, all right, now I really want to beat this team because, I know the girl on the other team. But, if you look at it, you can look at, say, another thing with my family is for college softball, my dad and my sister are Oklahoma fans. I'm a Florida Gators fan always. And my mom kind of goes both ways. She just doesn't like to get involved. So when it comes to the games where, Oklahoma and Florida play against each other, it's just exactly like the Mets and the Yankees. And I think, you know, in our conference, not necessarily knowing other people on the other team, but we do have a very big competitor. You know, when we play them, it's always a tough game, and there's a lot of emotions in the game. And, you know, I'm just going to go out and say it's Cabrini. They're probably like one of our toughest competitors. You know, and finally being able to beat them this year was just the best feeling in the entire world. And I know, you know, we fell short in the championship, but just having that competition and knowing like, oh, we play Cabrini next week, you know, we have to work hard at practice. We have to be on our A game, you know, just that feeling and that like vibe from the game is just a feeling that like you just can never get over. It's just every game, it's a different feeling, and it's just, I love it.
And Florida Gators, I have family members that are Gator fans, so they'll be happy to hear that. So Papa Joe's a Gator all day, every day. So with that being said, Marywood University Softball, the center of our Pacer pride, here today exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Final piece is rapid fire. And what we do here is we go around and we are set up on the screen that to my right, for those of you watching, Ashdon is here next to me, and then Emily, and then Brooke, and then back up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around and then back around the other way. So everybody that gets asked gets to ask. So Ashdon, I will ask you first, and then you'll ask Emily, and we'll go from there. My question for you, Ashdon, if you had to pick two teammates to do a comedy tour, who would you pick? And if they went up against each other, who would win the comedy tour head-to-head?
If I had to pick to do the comedy tour?
Yeah, you pick two people for the comedy tour from your team, and if they went up against each other, who would you say is the best?
Okay, so I would pick Emily Rose and Nina Kozar.
Okay.
Winning's a toss-up. Winning's definitely a toss-up. I think Emily might punch me if I don't say her, so I'm going to go with Emily.
I'd probably say Nina, to be honest.
Fair enough. All right, Emily, go ahead. I'm sorry, Ashdon, you ask Emily.
Can it be like anything?
Anything in the world.
I don't think there's a lot that I don't know about you. Okay, if you had to pick, now this may be biased, what is your favorite ice cream place? You better say the right answer.
I don't think it's my favorite. I don't know. It's between Jitty Joe's and Manning's.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know. I feel like I'm at Jitty Joe's more often than I should be.
That's because of me.
Yeah. So I'd probably lean towards Jitty Joe's.
Is there a favorite thing that you get there?
Cotton candy.
Great choice. Fantastic choice. The crazier the flavor, the better. All right, Emily, you go ahead and ask Brooke.
Oh, man. Oh, I feel like this will give some background. Brooke, we gave you a nickname freshman year. Why did we give it to you?
Oh, geez. Okay. I got the nickname Doug from the movie Up, the dog. Haley was she a senior that year? Yeah, I think junior. No, she was a junior. And we were indoors practicing in the winter, and we were throwing, I don't know what it was, tennis balls against the wall or something for some drill. And I kind of like ran off and was like, oh my God, ball. And ever since then, that was always my nickname, is Doug, because I seem to just like see a ball and I just run right after it. So, yeah, so I still get called Doug to this day. Yeah.
Well, I think being on a softball team and going after the ball is a good thing. So yeah. Doug is a compliment. All right, Brooke, what's your question for me?
What is your favorite sports team to interview? Like, what sport is your favorite to interview?
Sport. It's tough. I'd probably have to say because I covered the ACC and the American Athletic very closely in college. So and with that in Notre Dame, there's 27 schools, I think. So I would probably say football, just because I've gotten to know the most amount of people through that. And doing the ACC, we have it's called the ACC Kickoff, and it's in the summer, and every team gets invited, and you can interview them all. And I sit right in the front row, and everybody that comes up to that stage, I make sure I have a question for, and I run the gamut, and it's usually like 42 people. So I like the challenge of getting to know them and having to know their team. So I'd probably say that, just because I've expanded my network a lot with football. So I'd probably say that. My question back to you, Brooke. We're going back to Long Island. We have to. So I'm thinking about all the things I've learned. I did learn that where you are and what you're talking about, that it's there, but it's not, and you don't have to worry about the city. There's still traffic, but it's not like everybody's like this. The houses are really nice. I do know that. So, okay, let's stay on Long Island. Give me your favorite breakfast, your favorite lunch, and your favorite dinner on Long Island, and then tell me your favorite beach area to go to.
Okay, so my favorite breakfast would definitely be Signature Bagels or Bagel Lovers. I'll still stand by that.
Okay.
My favorite lunch, that's a tricky one because I'm not a big lunch person. Most of the time I'll probably just go to the deli and get some kind of like a hero sandwich, a hoagie.
We call it
I would get probably like Deli Hero, or if not, I would definitely go to Star Confectionery. It's where I work. It's a little old, very cute, awesome luncheonette. They have really good lunch. For dinner, I would definitely choose On the Docks. It's here maybe 3 minutes from my house. It's right on a little marina, like a little creek. And then my go-to beach spot, I mean, everyone loves the ocean, right? I mean, can't complain about the ocean. It's just I have to go to the Hamptons for that. I don't really like going over there. So I would definitely have to say the Bay. And because, a lot of my friends and family and stuff have boats, so we could take the boats out on the water and, go to Greenport, go up the island, down the island, wherever we want to go. So I would definitely have to say the Bay, which is in Jamesport, which is about 5 minutes from me.
Everything's right there.
Yeah.
What beach is it where they have like the obstacle course, zip line stuff that I'm thinking of?
I don't know about the zip line, but what I think you're thinking of is Jones Beach, maybe?
Jones Beach, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very touristy place, and that's very far west up the island for me, so it's just not even worth for me going there.
I will tell you that I went, and they tell you what to do in the beginning. They put you in a harness thing, whatever, right? They clip you in, and they tell you this is how you clip to the zip line and go, and then that's it. And then there's nobody there to help you the rest of the way, and it keeps going and going, and at the end, you take, your whatever, your cord, and you click it onto this thing, and you're supposed to just stay on it, and it's going to take you down because you finish the course and you're really high up, and you're supposed to just clip to it, and then it guides you all the way down. Nobody was there for the guy in front of me who kind of hurt himself, and nobody was there for me to tell me what I was supposed to hold on to or not. It was my first time on it. So I clipped to it, and then I held on to like the blue strip that was there. Well, the blue strip stops, and then you just go down this wire to the ground. So when it stopped, it felt like it was going to rip both of my arms out by my shoulders. Nobody said anything to me. I cut myself, and I ended up going down to the bottom of the thing. And the lady showed up afterwards because she was, I don't know, on break doing something of nothing. And when she came back, I showed her what happened, and she was very, very nonchalant about it and very much like, well, do you need a Band-Aid? I was like, yeah, I think this is pretty substantial. Like, I think it's important. But I do remember going back there saying, this was fun. However, somebody should probably tell you not to hold on to the blue strap so that you don't, lose a limb or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds like Long Island. It's kind of do what you have to do, and if you mess up or something goes wrong, you got to figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So shout out to Jones Beach. Nice experience until the end. Brooke, what's your question for Emily?
Oh. What is out of all the three coaches, what is your favorite coach's moment?
After I hit the game-winning triple in Florida, Coach Brian sprinted to me and picked me up, and there's actually a photo of him holding me and hugging me. And that's probably my favorite memory with one of my coaches.
That's awesome. Emily, what's your question for somebody who you know very little about, Miss Ashdon?
What's your favorite memory from the season? On or off the field as a team?
I have like 7, not more than 7 off the field. I gotta pick one. I think off the field, one of my favorite memories from this season would probably be, I want to say like Florida in general. Just like not even playing wise, not anything to do with softball, just all of our downtime in Florida. I think those were probably the best memories from this season. On the field, I don't think I could pick one. Yeah.
So Florida stands out, and on the field, there's too many.
Mm-hmm.
What's your question for me, Ashdon?
Okay. You said that you've lived in many places.
Yes.
What is your favorite and why?
That's a fantastic question. So I've lived in 3 different states. I've lived in PA, New York, and Florida. And I would have to say, I mean, I love home. There's things that I love about Marywood in that area. But my second home of my show, it's not just the second home for me, but it's the second home of my show. There's a lot of teams I cover down there. I love Florida. And I worked at Disney. I worked at Disney on the college program from Marywood, and then went and lived down there for a little bit. So my best friend's down there, Evan. Shout out to Ev. And yeah, I mean, 2 of my nieces are down there. I call them my other parents, my Papa Joe and Mary. They're down there. I love so many things about Florida, and I'm a Disney kid. And it doesn't matter how old I am, I will run around Disney like I went there for the first time. So, yeah, I would have to say Florida. I don't need 90. I don't. I think 75 to 80 I can ride all year long. But 90, that's July, August. That's hard. But beyond that, I mean, there's so much to do. There's so many places to go. And next to New York, my family is there. So I guess, Florida would be an easy choice for me. I lived in Kissimmee, which is right outside of Orlando. Would I live in Kissimmee again? I don't know. I might live in like St. Augustine area. That's where Papa Joe and Mary are from. And there's a beach right there. And it's the oldest community in America. So that's really cool. I also did a tour of like the first jail and all this stuff. And out of all the people that were there, I was chosen to reenact the jail, and they put me in jail. So that was fun. But it was a really cool experience to go down there. And one of the most haunted places, allegedly, is the fort that's in St. Augustine that I walked through and went up to this one wall, and I felt something, and other people there felt the same thing. So we backed away from that wall. But yeah, no, Florida has so much, and there's so much to do. I think food-wise, they need, and Brooke, you can probably nod your head on this, and I'm not saying this because half of the screen is from New York, but I think Florida needs some New Yorkers to go down there and start cooking, because the pizza down there is desperately not what it needs to be. So there's
yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't think the New Yorkers and Floridians will get along very well. We're two completely different types of people. So, but I do think that all of the places everywhere in different states need help with their pizza.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to say this on the screen, and I'm sorry, Emily and Ashton, if you disagree with me on this. The fact that Old Forge calls themselves the pizza capital of the world, they aren't the pizza capital of Old Forge. So the cheddar cheese, deli cheese on the ragu sauce is a blasphemy to pizza. And I told my mom about it, and she was like, oh, put that pizza down and walk away. Like I had a headache all day because I was an orientation advisor at Marywood, and they gave us only that at 10 a.m. And it was just that pizza. I took a couple bites. I called my mom and I said, I think I'm spitting at every relative I have if I eat this. And I didn't eat from 10 to 4. Had a headache during orientation because as a card-carrying Italian, I refused to eat the pizza. So do you have a defense for it? What'd you say, Emma?
I can agree with that. I will forever stand by Maroney's in West Side. That will be my forever pizza place. So, no, I'm not a big fan of square pizza, so the Old Forge pizza doesn't really sit well with me. The only square pizza I'll eat...
anybody's stomach.
Yeah, no. The only square pizza I'll eat is Maroney's.
All right, fair enough. Ashton, do you have one? Is it Main Street, the only restaurant in Goldsboro?
No, I'm going to have to go with Emily on Maroney's. My dad is also from West Side, so I grew up on the Maroney's pizza, and I will forever stand by them as well.
Okay. Brooke, did you have Maroney's? Have you tried it?
I've never had. I've had Nira's and oh crap, I can't think of the other one. But I know I've had Nira's, and it's very, very close to a New York pizza.
Yeah. See, what it is we just start to spread out. That's how the pizza gets better. So for Ashdon Clark, as well as Emily Rose and Brooke McKay, of course, I'm your host, Dan Tortora, and this has been a special edition of Pacer Pride centering on Marywood softball and softball in general, because the sport deserves it, the school deserves it, and once again, Ashton, Emily, and Brooke, congratulations on an incredible, successful, and historic season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life. I want to thank my incredible guests once again for being a part of the show. A big shout out to Marywood Softball and their amazing season, winning their first ever ECAC game. And on top of winning their first ever ECAC postseason game, they also were crowned ECAC champions. How cool is that? To win their first ever ECAC postseason matchup, and on top of winning that, to be crowned champion. So the year that you win your first game is the year that you become a champion in the ECAC. Awesome, awesome news, and a big time congratulations to the wonderful, wonderful Marywood softball team led by John Butash and that entire staff. I want to thank them all for all that they've done. I want to thank the entire team, including my wonderful trio of guests, Brooke McKay, Emily Rose, and Ashdon Clark. And a shout out to Gouldsboro, Scranton, as well as Riverdale, New York. So a lot of positivity, a lot of good going out to every single one of your hometowns. And Riverside, I think it is, not Riverdale, pardon me, Riverside. I think Riverdale is a TV show. So big shout out and a big congratulations to all of you and all the hard work that you have done and put forward. Much appreciation to every single member of the softball team and everyone who's helped out the softball team, and the staff, as well as every single one of the student athletes. So a big time shout out to the entire team there. Riverhead, so I got it wrong 3 times. Brooke, I'm sorry. I said Riverdale, Riverside, Riverhead, Long Island. That's what I know. So shout out to you, Brooke. Shout out to you, Ashton, and shout out to you, Emily. Thank you for being a part of the broadcast. So with that being stated, the beauty of being live on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time is that you never know what's going to happen. And by the grace of God and the blessing of God, I've been able to break news to you in the moment instantaneously because we were on the air at the time that something happened. Well, the American Athletic Conference, you know that I am no stranger to the broadcast, to the American Athletic Conference and having them here on the show. Mike Oresco, the commissioner of the American Athletic, is a mainstay on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora since the institution, before the conference even had a logo or a conference name. He has been with me here on the broadcast. So a big thanks to Mike Oresco. The American Athletic Conference had, with Cincinnati as well as UCF and Houston, they could have stayed until 2024. That is what the bylaws had. July 1st, 2024. July 1st is the magic date when we see teams typically, institutions typically leave or be brought in somewhere, is July 1st of whatever year. And so 2024 was the number that it could have been. July 1st, 2023 is what it is. As this morning, I can announce to you that the American Athletic Conference has reached an agreement with the University of South Florida, the University of Cincinnati, and the University of Houston as far as their departure, allowing them to leave 1 year early. And each of these member schools, UCF, Cincinnati, and Houston, will leave effectively on July 1st, 2023, allowing them to join the Big 12. American Athletic Conference Commissioner Mike Oresco said, quote, "I would like to thank UCF President Alexander Cartwright, Cincinnati President Neville Pinto, and Houston President Reno Couture, as well as Tulane President Michael Fitz, who is chair of our board of directors, for their efforts and leadership to arrive at a sensible resolution to the 3 schools' departure from the conference. All 3 institutions enjoyed tremendous success under the American Athletic Conference banner, and all 3 were instrumental in taking the conference to great heights, both athletically and academically. We wish them the best and look forward to having them compete in our conference in 2022-2023, end quote. UCF President Alexander Cartwright, Cincinnati President Neville Pinto, and Houston President Reno Couture had this joint statement, quote, "It has been a privilege for our universities to compete at the highest level in the American Athletic Conference, where our programs have grown and flourished, both athletically and academically. To be part of the Americans' climb to national prominence in recent years is something we'll always look back on with great pride. We are especially grateful to Commissioner Oresco and his staff for their efforts during this process and look forward to an outstanding year of competition in 2022-23, end quote. So, they will be competing in all sports coming up here in 2022-23, and I'm excited to see Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston one more time inside of the American. And when they leave July 1st, 2023, that will effectively allow them the opportunity to move over into the Big 12 and compete in the Big 12 for 2023-2024. That is breaking news, and I'm very happy that we got to share that with you. With that being stated, I want to thank you all for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets life. And I appreciate you so much for being a part of the show. You can watch on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT. You can also watch on facebook.com /LiveNowDT. And you can listen to internet streaming radio worldwide on mixlr.com /WakeUpCallDT and on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, where the MixLR feed is embedded. You can search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora's archive to listen back to our shows with over 1,600 episodes on Podbean on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, or you could search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Podbean's app or podbean.com. You can also search us on Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, YouTube, MixLR, Amazon Music, Audible, and more. All you have to do is look up Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, in their search bar. Thank you to our Central and Upstate New York partners of Cafe Cabal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, PB&J's Lunchbox, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. Order now from anywhere in the country at maandpaspopcorn.com, and they will deliver to your doorstep. Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, Avicoli's, Honda City of Liverpool, Pizza Man, Chick-fil-A Cicero, and Chick-fil-A Clay, and Mother's Cupboard. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It is Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. New episodes with the Dolphins air every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, which Bob Beretta, the AD, is called Dolphin Time. He dubbed that in the beginning of our partnership, and I'm very excited to share that with you every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time is Dolphin Time on Wake Up Call exclusively. And every first and third Wednesday of each month at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, we have Bob Beretta, the AD, for AD and DT, with myself and Bob speaking on different topics, including giving you a 3-part series on realignment and reclassification, all exclusive, breaking news first on the broadcast. And you can check out the timeline of Lemoyne potentially looking at moving from D2 to D1 by going to youtube.com /WakeUpCallDT and clicking subscribe, or the Lemoyne tab on WakeUpCallDT.com. You can also go there for our Dolphin Dive, which airs every second and fourth Wednesday on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. With that being stated, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com for more information. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is also the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Marywood University Pacers. It is Pacer Pride every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we round out the week with you in this Pacer Pride opportunity every single Friday around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We bring you the Pacers like we did today with the Marywood Pacers softball team, who is coming off of an historic season, celebrating the wonderful team and everybody involved, including Brooke McKay, as well as Emily Rose and Ashdon Clark. So a big thanks to each and every single one of them, John Butash, and all of the administration, as well as coaches and student athletes that join us throughout the year in our partnership with the Marywood Pacers here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora exclusively. Go to our youtube.com /WakeUpCallDT channel and make sure to subscribe. You can also bookmark us on the Marywood tab on wakeupcalldt.com. And for more information, you can go to marywoodpacers.com. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are also exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We bring you Bobcat Buzz every single month here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, giving you specials with the Bobcats administration, coaches and student athletes. We've had roundtable discussions with the coaches, as well as sitting down with national champion Nick Dmitrievsky, who's the athletic director, as well as the men's soccer head coach, sitting down with national champion on campus and at Cafe Cubal with Alex Grigorita, who is the assistant AD, the women's soccer head coach, and of course, breaking news, giving you the exclusive first broadcast and the announcement of Clay Gagan-Sherman becoming the men's basketball head coach at Bryan and Stratton, and Tay Baker becoming the women's basketball head coach at Bryan and Stratton, as well as giving you plenty more, including Makai Reed, who's staying in Syracuse, going from the Syracuse Academy of Science and moving on to Bryan and Stratton College. On the heels of his commitment to the men's basketball team, he joined the show. Bobcat Buzz are what our specials are called, and they're airing for you on the BSC SYR tab in our archive on wakeupcalldt.com. You can also get them on the youtube.com/wakeupcalldt channel by clicking subscribe. And as always, you can follow us throughout the month on our social media to find out when our next Bobcat Buzz episode will be streaming for you on our live show. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay for lead, and our Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay special with Adriana Lugo will be airing this Sunday, so make sure you stay close to our social media. It'll be airing on YouTube. And of course, thanks to the top dog of the week, Canine Kamp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, the only places for your dogs to go to for short and long-term care in Central and Upstate New York, and to the Marywood Pacers softball team. And once again, a thanks to Brooke, Ashton, and Emily for being a part of the show. And a shout out to Marywood softball, women's athletics in general, and softball in general for being an incredible sport with incredible people and an incredible season at Marywood University. Find us on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_.